Well, this video is overdue. The trailer was released like 4 months ago, like maybe 3.5 or something. And here it is, like March 5th, 2016, when the first part of the video is finally out. Now, if I had the ability to upload videos longer than 15 minutes, this would have been longer. But because I can't, this is going to be split up into parts. Now, this is the first time I've done a countdown, so I don't know how this is going to turn out. But hopefully it turns out good because I plan on doing a lot of these. Okay? So, let's talk about the Star Wars Special Editions. Now, when George Lucas in 1988 said that there was a battle against colorizing black and white films like Citizen Kane, Casablanca, and Gone with the Wind. Well, George Lucas said that was against it because he said it would destroy history, saying that anyone who destroys or he even said that anyone who destroys or alters work for the just solely for money are barbarians. I don't think those were his words, but that was pretty close to what he said. And then in 1997, he does the exact opposite. He literally starts changing his own films. He says this matches his original vision, but a lot of these changes are very pointless. You can literally and a lot of these changes are actually destroying the films. And the worst part about this is that he's not releasing a copy of the original versions. The only way you can do that now is to find like a VHS tape find one of the VHS tapes from like 1982, and those aren't very good quality, but hey, the only way you're going to be able to watch the original versions. So, what are the worst of these changes? Okay, let's start off with some dishonorable mentions. The first one is this extra rock in front of R2-D2. Was there a point of adding it? I mean, was Lucas's story really incomplete without that extra rock? Also, how did he even get in there? If you look at how like all the rocks are lined up, it would have been impossible for R2-D2 to get in there. Again, I don't see the point of this change. It was included in the 2011 Blu-ray version, which so far is the latest version of the movies, if you don't count the despecialized editions. But anyway, this change was completely and utterly pointless. The next dishonorable mention goes to the new Wampa scene in The Empire Strikes Back. Uh, uh, what I want to say here is that fear of the unknown. Seeing the Wampa just makes it a lot less intimidating because in the original you can't see it, so you have the suspense until you actually see it for a split second. Here, you see it and it really doesn't add to anything. In fact, it subtracts from the suspense. It was really pointless and useless to even make this change because it doesn't add to the story in any way, shape, or form. Also being a dishonorable mention, the Emperor's new face. In the original version, the Emperor Palpatine was literally just some woman in some makeup, and they got her to do the role of Palpatine. But here we see that but the role has been replaced by Ian McDiarmid. Honestly, this was a pointless change. And also, they changed some of the lines too. Also, his face is literally out in the open, so it looks a lot less intimidating as in the original version, where most of it was covered up. Bad color correction is, well, bad color correction. They try to make things look better, and instead they make it look worse. That's all I can say. Sometimes they make the colors look better, but other times they don't. This is something that wasn't only changed once, but twice, both in the 2004 and 2011 versions of this film. In the 2004 version, it wasn't all that bad, it was just unnecessary. But in the 2011 version, they made his call excruciatingly annoying, and even gave it an echo effect, which sounds very fake. Ready for CGI? Well, you'll be getting a lot of it when you look at the edited Sarlacc pit from Return of the Jedi Special Edition. CGI is a huge recurring problem among these special editions, where they take scenes and they edit them with CGI. Very bad CGI, might I add. This definitely isn't the worst example, but it definitely is not the best example. In fact, I don't think there are any good examples of this. Well, the honorable mentions or dishonorable mentions are done, so let's get on with the actual countdown. Now, all of these choices were chosen carefully. This list might change in my mind over time, but I think this is what I believe to be the top 10 worst Star Wars Special Edition changes. Line changes. There really isn't much of a point to changing a freaking line. Uh, like for example, in one scene in The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader orders them to bring his shuttle. But in the special edition, they extend the line, and the voice isn't even James Earl Jones. What I don't see the point of that. I think the point was to make the fans mad, but yeah, maybe this original vision is a bunch of BS. Anyway, other other things examples of line changes is in the Dagobah scene in the same movie where Luke sees R2 flying off in the distance, and he says, you're lucky you don't taste very good," but they change it to "you were lucky to get out of there," making it a whole lot more cliche and a lot less humorous. There are other examples like adding to C3PO's original line and probably some other ones, but the reason why I don't like line changes is because they're unnecessary and they take away from the original film, and they're just out of place. They sound out of place. It's easy to find a new line because it just sounds out of place. What I'm trying to say is that it's unnecessary to change lines. And if you're changing like one line because it matches your original vision, then your original vision must have not been very far from what from what you put out in 1977 or 1980. Remember how I said I didn't like Boba Fett? Well, I still don't. But you know what I don't like even more? How they changed his voice. You see, in the prequels, well, in Attack of the Clones, we are introduced to the character Jango Fett, the father of Boba Fett. And he has a similar voice, but not the exact same. But after that, the special edition of The Empire Strikes Back features Boba Fett with the voice of his father, Jango Fett. They got the same person to voice Boba Fett, who not the same person who voiced Boba Fett, the same person who voiced Jango Fett to voice Boba Fett in the special editions. What was the point? I mean, I mean, I guess you would want to keep up continuity since Boba Fett was a clone, but the Stormtroopers were all clones too. They all had different voices, so why didn't you just change their voices too? Or how about this? Save the work. Don't change Boba Fett's voice at all. Even the person who voiced Boba Fett in the original version will never be heard from again because their name was taken out of the credits. Amazing. Remember what I said about CGI? Well, we have an even worse case of CGI in these special editions. And this, Mos Eisley in the original Star Wars. In the original version, it was a nice small town. And in this version, it is unnecessarily large with a bunch of stupid CGI that looks terrible all over the place. This was unnecessary. Look, in this scene right here, the dinosaur or whatever just walks in front of the camera. I mean, was it really his intention to show off how much crap he can put on the screen? Was that George Lucas's intention? Uh, because if it was, then I'm speechless. This isn't even the worst case of CGI in these special editions. There's still one worse case. Or at least 2 or 3 worse cases than this. Basically, basically, the CGI, there's way too much stuff going on, and this stuff going on doesn't need to be here. Like, the extra animals and stuff, it doesn't need to be here, and it is unnecessarily large. This is yet another change that did not need to happen.